Hey everybody. So I just wanted to make a recording about our negotiation project because we really haven't spoken about that very much. So you probably want to know what you're getting into. I made myself a nice little itinerary so that I will stay on point. And anybody who's ever taken one of my seated classes know why I need one. So I like to tend not to go off subject. Anyway, that's all supply chain related. Mostly. Anyway, so for our negotiation project, we are going to be put in groups of three. And most of you, I think there's one group that has only two members. Well, we're going to do a negotiation. I have a lot of experience doing these. You guys probably have some experience too, probably not in the same way that I do, but if you've ever bought a car or tried to talk your mom into something, your dad, your partner, that's negotiation skills. So we're just going to put that more in a business type setting, I guess. So anyway, I'm going to go over how to succeed at this project, what to do, what will be your deliverable, and when the due dates are. So I hope all this will help you. First, like I said, we're going to be put in groups. I am actually going to email those groups out tonight. And I am going to designate one team member as the communicator. The reason for this is because sometimes I get way too many emails and I have to sift through these emails to see which ones I need to answer and ones I don't need to answer. This just makes it easier for me to be able to know that I need to respond to you. And it also makes it easier for you to get an answer, to be quite frank. So I will put on the groups that I email out today. I'm putting everything on As You Learn as well, except for one thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you'll know who's grouped up in your specific class, whether it be online or a seated class. But for this one, we know that both are online. Okay, so the thing that I'm going to email out to you individually, I'll probably do this tomorrow, is documentation. So for every buyer and seller, each one of you has very specific documentation. And it's very, very important that you don't share this with either group, even if they are another buyer or they are another seller. I hate to be harsh, but if I find out that you have shared that information, that counts as cheating, just like cheating on an exam, and I do have to report it. Because the fundamentals of this exercise is really just like real life. When you're negotiating for anything, sometimes you'll know things about that company that company doesn't know that you know, and vice versa. So I know that sounds really weird, but it's the truth. You know, we all kind of get some gossip here and there, and sometimes that gossip is true about other businesses, and you have to take that into consideration when negotiating. Let's say, totally making this up, but let's say that I don't know, your supplier is getting ready to go out of business, and without you buying from them, they're going to go under. So that gives you power as a buyer. They don't know that we know that as a buyer, but we do. So what does that do for like price, for instance? Well, you probably give them a lower price and probably get away with it more so than you could but as before. And that's just like one random example of what it means by that. So I hope that, sorry, I was reading the email. I hope that helps. So the next thing that you will see will be a group member evaluation. These will be made available to you towards the end of this project. And I want you to fill those out for each person. I don't think that it's fair that every person gets the same grade in a group project. That used to make me so angry when I was a student because, well, quite frankly, I did a lot of the work most of the time because I'm just type A personality. But anyway, I just don't think that's fair. So I want you to be fair whenever you submit your group member evaluations to me, and I will take it all into consideration when grading the final product that you guys give me. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is some sweet tea because that's important. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is that your groups must work together before the negotiation. Why am I saying that? Well, I don't just go into, let me give you an example of something I've been involved in. So whenever I worked for Lowe's Hardware and we had to negotiate very specific details about our cargo on the freight carriers, I knew what price it should be around about, right? So I didn't go in there without talking to my team members and say, hey, we're not going to do any more than $2,000 for this container going from Shanghai to, LA. That rate would be outrageous. $2,000 is the most we're going to go. I wouldn't share that information just when I go in there. I'm going to talk to my team members about that before we walk in so that we're all on the same page and we all know what we're about to negotiate for. When it comes to your negotiation, you're going to have to negotiate at least 12 items. One is definitely going to be price. That's obvious. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of things. It's really not. And I am probably going to record a lecture either today, tonight, or tomorrow to post for you guys on negotiations. I strongly suggest that everyone watches this because it will give you some points to negotiate, and you need to think of some on your own as well. Google it. That's what Google's for, right? It's important that you at least find those many points because, when I've been involved in negotiations, there have been so many points. I mean, the final contract was like, ooh, this thick. That's a lot. Some of them are this thick, it just depends. It depends on what you're negotiating for. So 12 points are really not that much to negotiate. So when it comes to the negotiation and I want to talk about your final product just for a moment. Actually, I'm going to talk about one other thing first. I was trying so hard to be organized. So, one of the things, so I'm actually going to talk about the negotiation itself. When you guys do work together before you come to the quote-unquote final negotiation, that final negotiation will have to be on a Zoom meeting. And you will have to have your buyer, there will be present the buyers and the sellers that you will be working with. And I will put those on the groups today so that you know who you'll be working with essentially on the final negotiation. I prefer that you not meet until that final time frame. Because a lot of this final time frame, this final negotiation, I want to be there so I can see the negotiations between you two, or at least hear them. The reason why is because really what you're being graded on is, of course, the 12 points that you're going to negotiate. How well do you know those 12 points? How well do you understand the process of negotiating? and what points you are negotiating. It's important to find 12 things that are important to your business. So, and I'm going to kind of set up the business for you a little bit so you'll have some ideas of what you need to negotiate. So remember that when I'm there, I'm kind of a fly on the wall. I'm not going to say very much, but I'm going to be listening. And I know that might make some of you nervous, but don't let it make you nervous. I'm just in the background. I'm just a fly on the wall listening, because it's really important to me that you understand how important that negotiations are, especially when related to businesses. They can make or break you. They can make you a lot of money or make you lose a lot of money, either way. So that's why you have the importance of this. And this is a lot like a real life negotiation, and I want you to treat it as such, please. Not every time you'll be able to meet people face to face when doing negotiations. Not every time will you be able to see their face. You may just be on there talking to them. There's going to be meetings before the actual negotiation, before you meet with that supplier or that buyer, so that you have your act together before you get there. And I'm going to say that again because I had one group last semester who did not do the legwork beforehand, and it was so obvious when they walked in the door. And what does that do? That actually gives the power to the other party. And quite frankly, if I go into a negotiation and that person doesn't know what they're talking about, I'm really reluctant to do business with them. If they don't know their stuff, I don't want to do business with them. I mean, they may not be a good supplier for me. And it also would cause me to lowball them on price. Because if I'm not going to get the expertise and the quality at all, then why would I pay them a premium price? So it very much puts the ball in the other person's court if you're not prepared when you go into this. So with that being said, whenever we do the final negotiation, I do not mind to do it up until 8 o'clock at night. I prefer 10 a.m. I am not a morning person. Most of y'all aren't either. And I think that gives us a good time frame from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. to get 6 people together to be able to do this. I also prefer Monday through Thursday, preferably. So I like my weekends off. I'm pretty sure that you guys do as well. However, if that is the only time that we can get somebody to meet is on the weekends, then we can do that as well. So what you're going to hand in to me and the due dates. Yeah. So the due dates are going to be April 29th. And that is for both the document that you will hand to me as well as your group member evaluation. So the final document that you handed to me is much kind of like what you would hand into a lawyer or someone like that to write up into the contract between you two. It's definitely not going to be as formal as something you would hand into the business, but I do want you to hand in one piece of paper, one document, well, not one piece of paper, but one document per group. And what it will be is basically your 12 points that you're going to negotiate on and what you have come to the conclusion of. So one of those points are going to be price, of course. So you're going to write down price, like in a bullet point, whatever, and then you're going to put, $10,000. That's what you negotiated for. That's what I want to know. Each group will have, again, just one person hand that information in. And I will look at your buyer and your seller to make sure that both of these match, so I know that you guys are on the same page. Last semester, I suggest this for anybody who's doing this. There was one person in the group for each buyer, each seller, that would write down what it was they were negotiating for and what the conclusion was. So that way they basically had their final product when they were done with the negotiation. Not all negotiations only take one session. That's real life. There were many sessions on many negotiations. So if we do need to come up with another time for everybody to meet to finalize anything, we can absolutely do that as well. So I think that's all. Maybe. Group member evaluation due April 29th as well. One document per group on April 29th. Oh, yes. One other thing. So, does it mean that you fail if you cannot come to an agreement? No, it does not mean that you failed. Actually, some of the better ones I've had are ones that they didn't come to an agreement on. That's real life, guys. You're not always going to come up to an agreement on something, and it's perfectly okay. What I'm really looking at, again, is your thought processes during these negotiations. I'm looking to see what points you're there to argue, and how well you understand. It's not about whether or not you come up with a definitive price or not. It's not. Sometimes you can just agree to disagree. So, and that's perfectly fine. So, I do want to say that because I'm very sure that's going to be probably one of the first questions I normally get. So if you guys have any other questions, I'm going to send out these groups right after this video and after I post it. And so get with your communicator for your group, have them email me, and I will absolutely get back to your question just as soon as possible. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my lecture on negotiation. I'll probably do that tomorrow. And yeah, so, and I may actually ask you guys for an update randomly. So make sure that you do get together and do some legwork. And final negotiations, I'll be starting to email you some dates available, hopefully, and we will do that as well. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.